So you guys came here, and the main goal is really to escape the matrix. So I'm going to kind of run you through how that works. What does that mean? Everybody has their own matrix. It's something you're stuck in. You're like, man, if I don't make a drastic change, I'm going to wind up just like everybody else around me. Do not accept the normal in life. I'm just telling you, it sucks. You're going to have to pay a price for it. I don't hide it from anybody here. I don't have this like easy button, pay me $5,000, I'll make everything super perfect. I'm going to tell you to put in the hard work. Remember, if you do the hard stuff up front, the business gets easier. If you want to take the easy button, how many people have pressed the easy button, bought a course, and thought your life was figured out? I have. It's miserable. Like you wind up, you get frustrated, there's less money in your pocket, and you got to move forward. So the whole idea of this event is like, how can I escape? Every one of you are going to have a different story. We all have a story here. I got a story, he's got a story. We have to set our stories aside and figure out how we progress. And you can heal through wholesaling anything going on in your life. Loss of a loved one, financial issues. I dug myself out of a massive hole, but I'll show you exactly how I did it. So we have three main goals here. Whatever your matrix is, define it. If you want to share it with me and Zach, we would love to hear it. Keep it condensed and go, okay, this is the obstacle. It's just an obstacle you're going over. You've got to set the emotional baggage aside of it. I worked for the most miserable employer for 12 years, and I sucked it up. And how about you? Like, I hated every minute of it. And studies show 72% of Americans hate their job. And I know that's probably a reflection in this room. It's okay. You can fix it if you want. I did my job while I did wholesaling. I didn't have a choice. I was broke. I was in over my head. Okay? Our goal is to get you to your first $100,000. But to get you to your first $100,000, you got to get to your first deal. Here's the funny part. The first deal is actually not the hardest part. It's deal 2 through 5. Most people get lost because some people get lucky on their first deal. Some people struggle so bad, they don't know how to do it again. You have to learn the fundamentals of wholesaling. Everybody agree with that? You have to. And after a while, once you get to deal 5, you will develop a pattern. And if you follow the fundamentals of wholesaling, you have a skill set that will last you the rest of your life. Okay? And listen, surround yourself with successful people. Who has naysayers in their own family going, what the hell are you doing with this wholesaling? Okay? Luckily, my wife supported me when we did it because we wanted out of the rat race. I can tell you, outside of that, actually, he was 3. I didn't have any support. Nothing. There were no groups like this. I had to figure it out all on my own. And who feels all alone when they do wholesaling sometimes? Like, it's a lonely sport. So this is supposed to re-energize you and let you know you're not alone in the struggle. But if you can get through it, let me see, ask somebody a question here. We'll get a reward with it. What must you sacrifice for wholesaling? How much time to really be successful? The truth.
And 2 years.
2 years. See, listen, I love this. See, we don't even have to reteach this. It's 2 years. It's the on. You can get lucky here and there. But if you want to get out of a rat race, get some cash flow, it's 2 years. If you can't commit 2 years, 24 months flies by. I remember when he's 3, he's a lot older than that now. It goes by much faster than you think. Think about anything else you've endured 2 years. It's not as long as you think it is. It seems like forever. So what will Escape the Matrix do? We're going to teach you how to wholesale. You got to change your old self. I tell you this all the time. We all have this personality and ego we've developed to this point. Here's the problem, guys. Here's the honest truth. At age 54, most of us have been programmed by everybody else in their life. And we've tried to live the life they taught us to do. I tried it. My parents said, hey, go to school, get good grades. I didn't quite check that box off for sure. I was a C, maybe C+ student on my best days. I had full-on ADHD when they didn't diagnose it. Not an excuse. Just, they said, hey, you'll never get a good job. They were right. They were absolutely right. And I got really pissed off when I heard that because I was programmed my entire life to get a good job. Most of you were told what? Go to school, go to college, get a good job. Who thinks that's the pathway to success anymore? I'm not discrediting college. You got to ask a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions when he went to college, when my daughter went to college. And it was at that time, it's like, is this really a good return on your investment? It depends on what you want to do. So we have to understand your programming. If you truly ask yourself where you are in your life, just admit it. I let other people tell me what to do, mostly our parents, let's be honest. And now you are on your own. You have to make that decision moving forward. Stop trying to make other people happy. Stop trying to get other people's approval. You're not going to get it in wholesaling. I'm just going to warn you right now up front. Does everybody agree with that? Okay. So don't worry about it. You are in a room with people who want to be successful. This is the people who count. I don't tell you to disrespect your parents or anything. I took very bad advice from my parents. I don't remind them every day, but it's like my father takes complete credit for me now, but like didn't give me any guidance when I did it. So it's like when you're successful, like, hey, look what so-and-so did. I made sure they had everything. I'm like, bull. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Now, going into wholesaling, you can't use your own personality. You have to kill it. And people go, well, Rick, this is how I always do it. And here's what I tell you. And how's that worked out for you so far? Change is hard, but it's doable. So here's how I deal with change. And if you're getting wholesaling, you're adapting to it, or you're struggling with it, make progress. Number one, recognize what you're doing wrong and just recognize it. We don't recognize it. Your spouse will point it out. Your significant other, anybody else will point it out. We don't know when we're doing wrong because it's just our personality. You have to set it aside. If you use those old goggles, your old employment goggles in wholesaling, you're going to get killed. You have to be wildly resourceful. You have to solve most of the problems. There is no support employees past me and Zach to get you there. So you're going to have to kill the old version of yourself. If that scares you, good. That's awesome. I'm a completely different person from wholesaling. I've changed most of my friends from wholesaling. It's not that I love the people that I didn't grow up with. I just, like when I go hang out with my friends to watch football, it's like their shocking state. Like I'm like, their struggles are completely different than mine. But I still love them. I don't change it. And I don't let anything they say affect what I do, period. So you're going to have to drop some of your old self when you do it. You got to get in the right room with successful wholesalers. Most of you, let's face it, the internet is a great place, but a dangerous place. There is no credibility of anybody on the internet anymore. Everybody's a coach. And what I love about it is the one thing I hate about it. You have no idea who to take advice from. So I said, find people that have had an amazing success record in wholesaling and stick with them. I didn't even spit one word out of wholesaling until I was 12 years into this business. I never felt like I was that high of a caliber. And after a while, like, Rick, you're really good at what you do. I go, yeah, but I like wholesaling. I do not like the coaching business, just for the record. I think it's all about take money. They make that in the business. They're flipping you guys. They're not flipping houses anymore. And me and Zach don't subscribe to that model. So we have a lot of enemies. I don't care. So if me and Zach don't care, you really have to protect yourself against family, friends, and just let them know. So let me ask you, when people say, hey, what do you do for a living? What do you say? What do you say, Sebastian? He's learned. The minute you go, I do this thing called wholesaling, and you go down this long, winded road, and there's like, is that even legal? What? Don't do it. Number one, they don't care. I'm just going to be brutally honest with you. They don't care. They're just asking you a superficial question. I do real estate. That's just leave it there. Most of my family assumes I'm still a realtor. I don't care anymore. I don't have to explain it to you. I'm going to show you what I am instead of tell you. We need to come from a world where people show you instead of tell you. Everybody wants to tell you how to run your life, right? Lead by example. You want great kids, I tell you that, show them. Don't tell them. Everybody tells, nobody shows anymore. And we need to get a plan to conquer your financial life. Wholesaling is the start. It is the spark. You get it going. Everybody wants to get cash to fix a problem. So the idea is to build a consistent cash flow. And I want to create so many problems in your life, you have to keep coming back to me like, hey, Rick. So we're going to create cash flow to solve some problems so you have options. A lot of you are digging out of a hole. I dug out of a huge hole in wholesaling. I did it in a year and a half. I could have gone a lot of different ways. I dug myself out of the hole to the point where you're like, Rick, I have all these problems. I talk to a lot of people and they're like, Rick, I'm trying, guys, there's so many people in here. I talk to you guys so many online. Where's Jason? Where's Rick? That's good. Okay. So Jason, we're talking online. He's like, Rick, he said, I'm stressed out. What are you stressed out about? He goes, I just made $80,000. I got all these deals. And I don't know what to do. I go, Jesus Christ, that's the problem I'm trying to create for everybody in this room. Do you understand that? And then you got to figure out how to manage and create wealth. That's another strategy. I don't specialize in that because if I spread myself too thin, what value am I to you? I'll introduce you to other people. And Corey in the back, he's like, Rick, I got this incredible tax problem. I owe so much money to the guy. Like, what do? I go, I want you to have problems like that. Either you choose your problems are going to choose you. Everybody has to have problems. Who doesn't have a problem in here? Raise your hand. Means you're dead. Okay. Everybody has a problem. If you do not want to take control of your life, the problems will be brought to you and you don't have a choice. If you take control of your life, you can solve anything you want. And guys, I already tell you, money is not going to make you happy. Choose to be happy. Choose to be happy while you're here. And you can have all the money in the world. I know some of the wealthiest people, they're miserable. So money's not going to solve that problem. You got to choose to be happy. Some of my happiest moments when I was broke with me and my wife and no money. We enjoyed each other. We figured it out as we went along. So this is what it won't do. I ain't going to do the work. I'm going to tell you the truth. You're going to have to put in the hard work. And if you whine a lot, I don't have any cheese to compliment you on it. I can't do that. So when you're at these events, we can talk about solutions to problems. But if you chronically if you go around the room and keep telling everyone the same problem, they're going to avoid you like the plague. Do you understand? You know people like that in your life? And like, man, they always have a problem. You know why? Because they call you, then they call your sister, then they call your buddy, then they call your coworkers. They go, yeah, hey, did Susie tell you about the problem she had at work today? I'm like, yeah, she told everybody. Those are people that just obsess over it. I used to be one of those people. I had to recognize it. I go, I got to stop telling people about my problems. Honestly, do people outside your immediate family care about your problems? They really don't. They're just being nice to you. And if you understand that, okay, we're not going to make the sacrifice for you. You're going to have to go on the journey. Here's the really cool part. If you paid somebody $100,000, and I've heard that number before, or you get education from me and Zach free, you're going to have to make the same sacrifice no matter what. I find people, when they start out with more money in wholesaling, they usually don't make it because they think they can buy their way through it. Wholesaling, as awesome as it is, doesn't care your race, your religion. It doesn't care about your financial. It doesn't care if you've been arrested. Heck, it doesn't even care about your age. What it does care about, if you don't reward it with work, it will go find somebody else in the room that'll do it. It's just like money. That's the same way money works. If you don't take care of money, be a good steward and learn how to multiply it, it goes in the other hands. That's why money washes through our government the way it does. That's a whole nother presentation. So I'm not going to promise anyone's going to make $100,000 because it's an unrealistic promise. You can make $100,000. I can give you the tools. Anybody can do it. You've got to make a choice. I used to think $100,000 was like a staggering amount of money until I started doing it every month. I'm like, and now I look at the numbers, but I had a limitation I set in my head. How did I do that? It was my old self. I could never make more. How can I make $100,000 a month where it'd take me 2 years to make that kind of money? We're teaching you not to trade your time for money to actually make a difference with wholesaling. That right? It's earned. It's not given. It doesn't. I've told you, I've watched people $100,000 and then they come and flip with Rick. They go, you've given me more than anyone else has given me. And like you've barely taken any money from me. I go, dude, you got to do the work. So when you guys get on that live, you know exactly, we don't BS you. And the ability, the way we've created the system, my 22 years in wholesaling, I can actually tell you the truth. And I'm like that father or that uncle that a lot of you need in your life. You just sometimes have to be told the truth. The problem is, you ever hear the saying that the truth hurts? It's true. I tell you all the time in the lives, you can't fix a problem if you can't tell yourself the truth. So you all have to tell yourself the truth because there's a lot of people that'll lift you up and help you in here. If you're dead broke, just admit it. I'm okay with it. We just have a plan. We work forward. Hey, Rick, I don't have money to do this. Hey, Rick, I don't have money to do the X leads. Then don't buy X leads. I don't care. The basic plan of X leads is designed for you to get leads first and leads only. And that's how it's created. So you guys are going to have to earn it. It doesn't matter if you paid $100,000, $1 million, or you do it for free. You've got to do it. I do my sports analogies, but a lot of you start out on the JV team. If you want to get to the varsity team, how many deals makes you a varsity player in wholesaling? 5. Why? Because I've done the studies. Find someone that does 5+ deals and they last in the business. Find someone who quit and they usually stopped at 4 or they gave up on number 5. Why? Because you have to show you have what it takes to get this business done. I can't make you do it. This business has a 95% failure ratio. It's by design because you all get oversold. You think it's super easy. Your expectations are here. And then you find out you got to start down at the bottom, just like everybody else did. It doesn't matter. It does not discriminate wholesaling. So if you guys know the story, just take a sip of your coffee. A little bit of background. I've been doing this 22 years. I've done over 3,500 wholesale deals now, and I've counted them. And I escaped my matrix at 34. Here's the really cool thing. If you get really good at wholesaling, you don't have to worry about retirement. As long as you have the ability to use your mind, you can do anything. I now flip properties without ever looking at them, without ever touching them. And that's a long way from where I started, from where a lot of you guys. But the first 2 years of wholesaling so burnt my mind because it was disturbing. It was quite shocking to me. And I remember just telling my wife, I go, I don't know if I can keep doing this. She's like, you don't have a choice. And sometimes you need that kick in your butt from your spouse going, hey, listen, we don't have a choice. You're going to have to get through this. You quit the job. I go, it's good benefits. How many people like stick to jobs just like benefits was the biggest soul for me. So I had 2 young kids at the time. I had a wife, I had a mortgage. And the one thing I had a problem with my job is the benefits. Well, have you ever added up what your benefits truly wind up being? I think they were wind up being like $15,000. I'm like, I gave my life up for an employer for 12 years for average 15 grand a year. And I can do 15 grand in like one deal. And I learned, I go, the benefits aren't as beneficial as I think because they own me. And I didn't like it. So I worked my company for 12 years. I had to get out of that life, dude. Let me tell you, I did time for 12 years. And I didn't do prison time. I did corporate time. And if you've ever sat in that cubicle, I was responsible for so many employees and they constantly had an excuse why they couldn't pay me more. And Rick, you need to do this, you need to do that. But they taught me a skill set of frustration, pissed offness, and I couldn't take it anymore. And I just decided I have to make a change. It took me 12 years to build up the courage. If you're in that scenario, I'm trying to save you now. If I would have taken the wholesaling route at like 18, 19, I don't know what would have happened. I believe everything happens by design and on purpose, and I'm not going to question it because I made that change, and that's why he's here with me. That's why my wife's with me. I'm all about family. So if you're wondering, like, dude, like, how do I do this with like the family? Number one, make sure your family wants to be in wholesaling. I forced my wife into wholesaling. My son loved every minute of it. He thought it was the greatest thing. The reason why it gravitated so much with him is my sole focus in wholesaling was to get control back of my life because I was owned by a corporation. 6 days a week, drop of a dime, you had to do whatever they said. And I couldn't stand it anymore. I just wanted my time back. And I wanted to spend time with my kids. My father never spent any time with me as a kid. And that is still, I go, I got to change it. He's 3, I got to make the change now. And I bit the bullet. And one of the reasons we're here right now is because I made that change. Now, we can't hear the volume on it, but this is a clip from Step Brothers. So I work for Enterprise Rent a Car. They gave me the tools to be my own boss. Complete crock, but it taught me a lot of skill set. And I want you to understand is I owned my corporate life. That's me. That's actually the owner of the company at Enterprise. I had to go meet him out on an airport tarmac as he flew in on a $60 million Gulfstream to meet him out there with his Suburban. I mean, it was humiliating. It's like, it just got to the point. And the guy to left of me was my biggest pain in the ass. Who's got a pain in the ass boss right now? So if you don't have it, this guy used to make me go out at like 11 to 12 o'clock in the middle of the night and go meet the owner because he didn't want to get out of bed. I'm like, man, you guys are like spoiled. Now, I was amazed. The owner had an incredible business plan, but I did 12 years hard time there. So if you look at my Bobos underneath there, this is me wholesaling with him underneath the chair while I did it. So if you got screaming kids while you do wholesaling, good, it works. A lot of you guys don't know when I started out, my logo at the time, because my kids were always screaming in the background, I wrapped the family van, because my kids always trashed our van. If you have kids, you understand minivans, is my daddy buys houses. I got sued for it later because somebody else picked it up in Tampa and I didn't trademark it. But I just embraced it. Hey, who's that kid screaming in the back? I go, he's the future of wholesaling. Just keep it down. We'll be with you in a sec. But a lot of you go like, my kids are screaming, like, it's okay. People actually enjoy the authentic. They go, how I have kids, tell me more about your kids. And the more I talked about my kids, that's how I learned to be authentic in wholesaling. See, when I started out, someone taught me to do this from a corporate sales training. Worst advice I ever took in my life. And so I go, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm just going to connect with people. And today is the methods me and Zach are going to teach you. but this is how we did it. So at my end of my 12 years of sacrifice, I earned 90 grand. It wasn't a lot of money. And keep in mind, I was a W-2 employee and I had no write-offs. So I was fully taxed the entire amount. I was obligated 60 to 80 hours a week. What I hated about it, everything. Like I don't know if you guys ever have a job where you just hate going in so much you feel like you're giving up your soul. This is why I wholesaled. Wholesaling didn't find me, I found wholesaling. It was an escape the matrix for me. What did I give up? Honestly, I gave up all my fears, insecurities, everything in my life because I believed in whole. Honestly, I had no idea. I started out buying rental properties with my corporate income. I could only buy 2. And they were complete freaking disasters. I never made a dime. I actually lost money on it. And I remember going around, I go, how can I buy money with no money? Now I started with Carlton Sheets, wasn't bad. He's actually from my area. But I try to look at everyone's thing. I go, listen, all I got to do is contract these little houses in Port St. Lucie for 50 grand. I used to drive down to Miami. I'd meet buyers. They're like, yeah, I'll buy it for like 65 for you. I go, really? And I just kept doing it over and over. And then for me, I'd have to fly all over the country and find people that had similar mindsets with me. And it was hard. And so that's my story. That's my background. You've got to know why you're getting into wholesaling. And if your belief and your conviction is not strong enough, you probably won't survive. I'm just brutally honest. Now, if you'll take that with the fundamentals and you learn to be consistent, you can do absolutely anything you want in wholesaling. So I'm going to bring my son up. I'm going to tell you like his story. He'll give you maybe a little bit shorter version of it. I know I like to talk.
So here we go. Love it. Good thought. All right. So my name's Zach, if you don't know me, and let me tell you a little bit about me. You only know Rick, right? So basically, I've been wholesaling for over 8 years now, which seems like a lot, but it seems just like yesterday I first started. So I'm 25, started at 17. But basically, I started this business because Rick put a couple wholesaling checks on his desk when I was in high school. And I'm like, dang, it's a lot of money. Every 17-year-old, wants really 2 things in life, right? They want the girls and they want the car. And pretty much to get that, you need to make a lot of money. That's basically social media 101. And seeing $25,000, that's a lot of money. So that got me into this business. And fast forward now, done over 2,500 wholesaling deals. Rick's at 3,500. And it's kind of cheating because when me and him do a deal, we both count it towards our total. So maybe I'm cheating a little here, but like, come on. Like when we do 100 deals, technically it's 100 for him, 100 for me, and then it's 200 combined deals, but I still make it count. So 2,500 deals. Got my first deal at 17 years old and started working with Rick at 19. So kind of solo for a couple of years, came back in college, and I kind of did wholesaling my own way. Did this weird thing called virtual, did something called cold calling, which he never did. And basically added cold calling, virtual wholesaling, and then this new thing called texting I saw on Facebook. And basically used it for your direct mail. And we decided to be partners after that. And the whole thing went crazy. So scaled it to 7 figures, became an official millionaire by 20 years old. That is liquid assets minus the house you own. And that was pretty exciting. So that's kind of my quote claim to fame. But what got me started in wholesaling is this is the actual Publix I used to work at. Publix, if you're not from Florida, is a grocery store. And this was my quote matrix. This is why I wanted to get started in wholesaling. I hated scrubbing toilets. I was pushing grocery carts at 95 degrees, 100% humidity, and it was bad. Minimum wage. So minimum wage in Florida at the time was $8.25 an hour. That's what I was deemed by my boss. That was my value. And working 39 hours a week. Why was I not working 40? Because they have to give you benefits at 40. So 39 hours a week, $8.25 an hour. That was my matrix. Now, it's not as bad as somebody's matrix if you have kids and all these things, but to me, at 17, I didn't like it. Bagging groceries, scrubbing toilets. I gave it my dignity, my freedom. It's not fun, okay? And basically decided something's better for me. And that's kind of what got me started wholesaling. Made 20 grand my first deal. 25 the second deal, and then after that I quit my job and went all in on wholesaling. So that's kind of my story real quick. And eventually now me and Rick, I think we have the largest wholesaling course in the country. I think we have a lot of people that follow us, and I got 250,000 people in Wholesaling.com and just growing. And I think I've helped a lot of people. There's been not one person, I don't say this with any ego in my heart, but there's been not one person that's caused somebody to get their first deal more than me and Rick. And it's all because we're not the best, but we're the only ones that teach you for free that have done a lot of deals. So let's kind of talk about what we're going to learn at this event and the itinerary for day one. So first and foremost, we're introducing ourselves, talking about who we are. We're going to do some basic wholesaling 101. We got a lot of new people on here, some people that have done deals. Quick recap. We're going to break out into a roundtable for people, just a little more networking in there. And then we are going to go out here and have Bill Tyler speak, which is basically me and Rick's accountant. And that guy's going to blow your mind. He's a cool guy. He's hits a lot of people, a lot of money. And he's a cool dude. We're going to go over some marketing 101. I think the number one question I've gotten from people is like, okay, I'm doing deals, or I'm trying to get some deals, or I haven't got a deal yet. What do I do? How do I get deals? It's what marketing 101's all, just a recap of how to find wholesale deals. Now, the coolest part is we got a bunch of people in here that have too many deals. They're like, I'm finding way too many deals. I don't know what to do. And they got people saying, I don't have enough deals. I can't find deals. So it's a good problem to have, and we can help you guys with that. We're going to do some live cold calling today, which is going to be pretty fun. No pressure, but if you saw the recording of our last event, the first cold call we did was a closed deal. So it was pretty exciting. I think I got good luck on it. And then we're going to do something what we call the one thing. And then at 7 o'clock, we are going to meet at iFun Park. So a lot of this event's like me teaching you stuff and talking and networking, and then we have fun. And so we're going to go to Icon Park. It's big, the big wheel, a lot of food, a lot of cool things. It's a cool hangout spot. So that is exactly what we're going to do here for day one. So we are going to introduce ourselves at lunch and like that. So let's kind of get started on Wholesaling 101. So do you want to go here?
Yeah. Just let me know when you want to jump in. Tati? Okay. So I'm going to beat fundamentals into you. We'll get through this. Just, you have to hear this, because a lot of times when I hear you guys' problems, they're like, are you wholesaling? They're like, ask yourself, if you're struggling with a deal, ask yourself, are you wholesaling or am I going outside of wholesaling? Real estate investing is a very, very, very broad topic. Wholesaling is a very niche topic. So a lot of you guys ask me questions. I'm like, is it wholesaling related or is it just real estate investing? I'm okay answering either or, but you've got to wear the right hat when you ask the question. Because wholesaling is the one thing, it's very black and white. You can't, if you do wholesaling and you stick to the rules, you can't get in trouble. Doesn't mean you can't do other techniques in real estate investing, but if you don't have the experience, you don't have the knowledge, my recommendation, Zach's recommendation, is stick to wholesaling, because that's where you pick up the most knowledge. Once you learn how to identify the right deal and minimize your risk, you can kill it. The main goal for wholesaling is to minimize your risk and maximize your reward. Speculation, you maximize your risk and you hope to God and pray it works out. That's the strategy. Because if you're just depending on appreciation, you are not in control and you're just like any other investor that goes out there. So, process of writing up a contract to buy real estate and selling the contract to a rich landlord, house flipper, AKA cash buyer for a profit. Nowhere in there does it say put on the MLS and sell it to an end user. That is a whole different skill set that most of you are not ready for. And I'm telling you, I don't do it. Okay, I'll teach you an easier technique to do it. But the last thing you want to do is start doing a strategy. This is where you're going to make your bread and butter. Most of the stuff you guys are buying on the internet, these courses, by a show of hands, how many people have seen a course to teach you how to take your wholesale and bring it to retail market? I see it everywhere. Guys, it's a fictional dream. A lot of the houses we buy are really they have to go through a process to get to the end market. If you want to start from the wholesaler all the way to the end, you got a 1 to 2 year journey. That's what you're going to sign up for. I've been through this. I promise you, if you're tempted to do fix and flip and you've never done a deal for it, come up here. I'm not going to slap you, but I'm going to shake you, because it's going to be the most painful lesson of your life. I've seen more people go broke, file bankruptcy, because once you go to fix and flip and go to retail, you are not in control anymore. Who's in control? Market, the contractors. Some people say the Federal Reserve with the interest rates. There's a lot of things that you cannot control. We buy pretty ugly, crappy houses. Do you think there's problems hidden in those walls? The problems are enormous. I've had entire walls fall down on me. I've had entire properties condemned on me. Like, bad stuff can happen very quickly. And eventually you will get caught with one of them. So remind yourself of this definition. You're buying a real estate contract and you're selling the contract to a cash buyer. You are not going out and getting financing. You're not doing any of that stuff. A whole different skill set. You don't want any part of it in the beginning, I promise you. This is the process. It's just black and white. If you ask me, hey, Rick, what's the process? This is it. We've defined distressed property with marketing, period. So let me ask you this. What are the two types of motivation? What are the two ways to identify if you even have a slightly motivated situation? It's
Motivated seller.
the motivated seller, and what leads to that?
Right out.
Distress, probate, loss of job, free foreclosure. It's a ticking time bomb. Number two, if you don't have a motivated seller, what else? Motivated house, which is most of what we find. Now, in a perfect world, you get a motivated house, which looks like it's just rough. Remember, they don't choose to be in that situation. Nobody wants a crappy house. Even I admit that. There's probably a select few. If you get a motivated house and a motivated seller, all you have to do is guide them down the path, like right down this middle. You don't sell them at all. The problem is a lot of you are taught is you just got to sell the crap out of everyone. In wholesaling, we're looking for a very finite type of property. When you get it, you do not sell them. You just help them and solve their problem. It doesn't mean you lay over and don't do anything. You have to follow a process. It's not a sales process. Become educated and understand it. So if I have a house that's really run down and the seller's like, well, I think I can get 250,000. You're like, where? They're just not ready for me, but I'm going to keep, that house isn't going to retail. I'm going to keep them in my follow-up and I'm going to stay on it until they tell me to just disappear. Don't ever give up on a motivated house. They just have not accepted what? The truth. Your house is rough. I know you want 250,000, but it's worth 120 as the way it is right now. And who's going to give them the truth when they do that, when it's all said and done? The market. The market's brutal, man. It's brutal to people. I don't know if you ever guys seen, so I've owned a real estate agency. Realtors are brutal on people. Oh my God. I've had picture perfect brand new houses a realtor still pick apart. It's what people do to try to get a deal. If you leave them a piece of junk and you put it on MLS, what types of properties should go to MLS?
Retail.
People on MLS, do they want to sell their house? Do they need to sell their house? They want. Who here just gives up on chasing down people who want to sell their house? I did it. It's terrible. I thought I could sell anybody. I came from a corporate sales job. There's nothing you can say to make people sell their house for a discounted price. You have to solve a problem. That's how you buy it. If you think you can force anyone to sell you a house, I do not have magic words to tell you. So our main job is going to be marketing and finding these distressed situations. That is your skill set. That is what you learn in wholesaling. If you do not master the marketing part, forget about the rest. I'm just telling you up front. And a lot of people want to skip this section. You have to become incredible. When I started wholesaling, I took this to word. I had ADHD. I was excited because I thought I could solve a problem with my family, and I went all in. I'm the type of guy, it's like if I take a course or I read a book and I read it 4 times instantly over and over. It's just how my mind, I can't stop it. And so I obsessed. The guy goes, whatever you do, you better figure out marketing. But you know what the problem is? I figured out marketing. I was so bad at everything else. I had to get everyone to help me, and everybody took money out of my pocket. I didn't care because an old wise man told me, which is not with us anymore, says, if you master marketing in wholesaling, everybody will bow to you in the long run. If you don't master marketing, you have to fill in all these others. And it's not to say you can't do it, but I'm just telling you, if you skip the marketing part, guys, it's going to be painful because you have to find a very finite set of people. So then we're just going to lock up the deal. We show you the contracts. We make it simple. We find a buyer. We walk them through. We give it to an assignment of contract, and then we get paid via assignment. End of story. Do not complicate this. Okay? If I can stress to you anything on this, you have to master marketing. Now, some of you are going to do it with absolutely no money. It's fine. I did it that way too. You will learn faster, more rapidly. I'm not going to tell you ain't going to get frustrated and you're going to burn a lot of energy, because you are. Get to deal 5. Let's put money in your bank account, and then I will show you how to scale the rest of the way. But you have to fight. You want to go on the varsity team, like my wrestling coach says, you just got to beat that guy in your spot. I can't beat him for you. And I'm telling you right now, You have to do it. Get to deal 5. People are like, I want to be your partner. How many deals you done? Oh, okay. Let's help you get there. And then some people just take longer than others. I'm okay with it. This isn't a race. It's what? It's a marathon. Look at it like a marathon. You guys know sprinters? You guys been on the internet long enough. You see sprinters, right? They look really good. I did 15 deals. I sold my business for 10 million. I'm the best. Then they disappear. They tell you that anyone who tell you they got killed in wholesaling, they weren't wholesaling. They were speculating. Listen to people's words carefully because they tell the truth. Just read between the lines. So everybody has this on there. You can take a picture of this. Is all in free wholesaling.
I got something else. Okay, so I like learning about it by doing charts, but I know how Rick learns. Rick's very visual, ADHD. So let's play a little game here, okay? We gotta grab a shirt. Okay. So here, what's a flip of the, does anyone know like a quick flip of the shirt? Okay, let's play a game. All right, yell a number. What is the largest, who here has the largest first deal ever in wholesaling? Okay, anyone do a first deal? How much? Anyway, 20,000, 40,000, 40,000, 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. 100,000. Of course, Jen. Oh, come on, Jen. I don't want to hear it. What is it, Jen? $128,000. Cool. All right. Well, Jen, if you want to get a shirt, if you want to explain to everyone how the deal worked, come up. I'm sorry. You don't need a shirt. All right. Explain to everybody how that deal works so we can have a visual representation.
So what's actually no whole clothes?
That counts. That counts.
They got to come up. And guys, so you know, Jen came to our last event and she wasn't shy. And she spent the entire time with me, Zach, and she went across the room. She took the lunchtime. I can't do everybody at lunch, but I'm just telling you, she knew how to work the room. And I like Zach, I go, this girl like knows what she's doing. And she loves to learn. And she took it off. She's very good at probates. She's learned to solve people's problems. So you guys, here's the key thing is when somebody says, when you get excited to hear about the deal, I don't care if they made 1,000 or 100,000. What's the number one question you ask somebody who gets a wholesale deal? What's the number one question? If you could only ask what question, what would it be? Yeah. So let's start with that. I always ask them, where did you get it from? Because you learn a lot and you'll see patterns. And that's how you learn wholesaling.
Okay, so where did you get the deal from? It was a referral. Referral, okay. Specifically, like, what kind of referral? Like, how do you define, like, who referred you?
So it was actually my mom's neighbor.
Yeah.
So a neighbor of 20 years was leaving their community, right? So they've been there since I was when I was born. And at the time, I was actually a loan originator, and she thought I was going to be the one to help them find a new house. She didn't know anything about wholesaling. All she said was, oh, you're leaving? My daughter is in real estate. So all she knew was real estate. And I was like, at the time, it was the beginning of my transition to finding out about wholesaling or flipping. Actually, I was going to do flipping, mind you. Rick says not to do that. Thank God we didn't do it. And this deal was going to be a flip, and I ended up finding wholesaling I was going to make equal to more money, and I ended up making more money wholesaling it.
So what do you lock it up for?
173.
All right, let's write that down. So $173,000. Okay. Now you have a deal locked up. What do you do now?
Okay, so originally we were going to flip this because the ARV was like 290, and the rehab was like 55 to 60,000.
Uh-huh.
And then I pulled out a whiteboard that looks just like this. Because I told Sebastian this probably 30 minutes ago, I started taking out business lines of credit at 0%. So I was even going to take lines of credit out to rehab it. But because I had a whiteboard, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. There's too much risk. So I was going to take a hard money loan, take out business lines of credit to do the whole thing. And mind you, it's going to be my first flip. And I was like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. So how do you find the buyer?
Okay, so we actually ended up negotiating down to 167, by the way. So
Okay, write that down then, so we know. So what was the conversation like?
So
Because you're already making a ton of money. Well, why are you being more greedy?
Okay, so this sounds easy, but I actually didn't even have the contract until 7 months later. So I spoke to the guy every 3 weeks. So if I can leave you with one thing, follow up is key. And do not forget that, because I didn't even know what I was doing. So March is whenever she gave my number to the gentleman. He was like in his late 60s. He's moving to East Texas. And every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I would just call him, have a conversation. Nothing about the house. Everything about how's the new construction going. It lasted less than 10 minutes. What else? Let's see. And then in September, I think September is when I finally asked, well, what do you need to walk away with? And I actually don't think he gave me a number, but I just said, well, do you owe anything on it? And he gave me his mortgage amount, his payoff. And I was like, okay, I did the math. And I just said, 173. Do you think that'll be okay? He's like, yeah, that'll be all right. I was like, holy crap. Okay. Because the house had issues, had foundation issues. He knew the roof had issues. It hadn't been updated since 2001. And so he knew there was issues, right? So I got him to tell me what was the issues with the house before I even asked for price. So that's always at the end, which they teach.
There we go. And then, so how do you find the buyer here?
So he actually ended up taking out private money. So we ended up closing on it because I had no idea that I could find a buyer before we closed.
Okay.
But I knew we had a deal.
Yeah.
And so we were getting bids, contractors for a whole week. And that's in between where I pulled up the whiteboard. And I was like, Yasmin has, my girlfriend, she has her license as an agent. We're like, let's just stick it on the market, see what happens. And so I wouldn't tell anyone to do this because that was a big risk, but it was deep. I mean, the ARV was 290, 300, and it was in Garland, Texas, which is a hot suburban market. And she did open houses for 3 days straight. The fourth buyer was a group home buyer in the same neighborhood. And she didn't even find it online. She found it because we stuck a sign outside. Because she was going making her rounds to visiting the, I guess, her properties with the, I don't know what you would call them, tenants, which it's government type of business.
Users, I don't know.
Yeah, so she actually walked in, she looked around the house, and for me, I always like to be transparent, and so Yasmin took her around, she said, okay, there's issues with the roof, you can see cracks in the foundation, the whole place is not, updated at all, and she was just thinking right then and there, she's like, well, what are you asking for it? And she's like, I don't know what Yasmin said, but she said, I actually think that Yasmin said, well, we have other offers. And she's like, well, just give us your best offer, because that's what you say as when it's on the MLS. And she goes and she's like, okay, 290. And we're like, what? We just told you there's issues with the house. What do you mean 290? So she was a unicorn buyer, which sometimes you'll find out in your deals that there are unicorn buyers out there because they have a specific reason why they want to buy a house, and you may not think of it, but it's out there. And so we found out it was for tax purposes because it's in October. She's making money from all these group homes that she's doing single family residences, and she needed a deal. And she's like, oh, I have 2 houses down the street. And so we made a relationship, and hopefully she buys from us again. We just need to find one in the same neighborhood. So
290?
Yeah, 290. And then she actually thought about it for a second. We're like, okay, holy shit, she's not saying anything. Sorry, it's my language.
No, you're good.
And she thinks about it for a second. In the same setting, she's like, okay, 300. Without Yasmin saying anything, she says 300. She's like, but I gotta pay this 10 on the side. We're not saying anything. We're just like, okay, sure, pay us on the side after the closing. And she does. She gave us a check afterwards because it was all because she was a wealthy individual who needed the property to feed her business. And so, I mean, it's just working there.
So you're doing the numbers there. So
yeah.
So what's the total there then? So like 129?
Yeah.
So you write that. You write that. Right, 100.
Well, I guess top line, not net. Because I've got expenses.
Yeah. Holy moly. So hopefully, when was this? When did this close?
October 2023.
There we go. A year ago. So there we go. Give a hand for her. There we go. So that's Jet for you. So, and then she's gone on to do even better. So, just try to put it in perspective because I feel like an old man. Like, oh, 8 years ago, I got my first deal and 22 years for you. And so try to put some more youthful vibe to me. So it's and she's not the only story. Like some other people doing really well too. So it's real. It's better when you see a real example versus just on a chart. Yeah.
So she found a problem and she solved it. And listen, when you have big spreads, you do have options. And that's where me and Zach try to help you out. If you're brand new and I go, man, you got like 100 grand and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what a probate is. Like a deer in the headlights. We're never going to force you to partner up with it. But I will tell you the truth too. And sometimes you guys don't like what I tell you. I go, it's not a deal. And then some of you fight back with me, it's a deal. I go, okay, how many deals have you done? I'm just telling you, I'm saving you the agony. Sometimes you're better off getting the truth up front. Go back and get me more information because what I have here, it's not a deal. So remember, it's risk versus reward. You can't take a huge risk for a little bit of a reward. What Jen did is she took a risk, but she had a calculated probability to make an outcome. I will tell you this. If you're doing your first deal and you're considering doing hard money, you're doing it 100% wrong. They don't call it hard money for no reason. It's hard. You have a business partner when you have a hard money loan. It is a loan. It's a pain in the butt. I've done them before. There is a time and a place for them. When you're starting is not the time. Does everybody understand that? You're better off, in my opinion, getting a partner helping you get through the deal and getting it done. Some deals are complicated, especially probates with legal filings and stuff like that. It's a pain in the butt. And I get it. You don't know what to do. You're better off taking half the money and learning. And when you do deals with me, I call you, we talk direct, and we go like that one-on-one. And that's the reward of doing it. And most people do a deal with me, they wind up doing 4 or 5. And I go, listen, little bird, get out of the nest, do it on your own. I want you to be on your own. That is a sign of growth and success. I'm not here to hook you for life. I don't need it. Some of us just need a little bit of helping hand getting off. The whole purpose of Flip with Rick is like, hey, Rick, I got an appointment. I'm going tomorrow. I'm freaking out. 9 times out of 10, I just tell you, get bound to the basics. Jen said an important thing. You do not obsess over the property. The property is just a symptom of what's going on with the human being. So a bad investor spends all their time like, what are you asking for the property? What do you think the word asking means? You can ask for anything you want in life. Give me 10 million. I can't do 10 million. Are you crazy? You open up such a conversation, it doesn't work. I get into how did we get in this situation? Tell me. And if you get in the story and you get the drama in it, you get an emotional connection, you get a reaction, and that's how you get deals. Remember, we have to find motivated sellers. Jen didn't find it on the MLS. She found it from someone. She told, hey, I buy houses. I simply tell people I buy houses. Do you tell them I buy houses or you tell them you're a wholesaler? Nobody has no idea what wholesaler is once you leave this. Like, what do you like? You sell to Costco? What do you do? I don't understand. It's honestly, if I could rename this business, I would, and maybe we can all do that together. And then we can just, I'm not wholesaling. We're fine. We can get around a lot of the stuff. Okay, brings us to the next one. Is wholesaling legal? Yes. You guys realize since 2003, they told me, go, Rick, I don't know, man. I don't know if I get started in this business, they're going to outlaw it. I'm like, luckily, I'm a very defiant person by nature to a point, as you'll check with my wife. I just like, how is it illegal? And so you start asking questions. And 9 times out of 10, when someone tells you it's illegal, they go, I heard somebody said, I saw a post on the internet, I saw a YouTube thumbnail that said it's banned. Give me the facts. You guys are smart. Get facts. Are they making things more challenging? Yeah, but most of the stuff, if you read into these laws, it's around marketing. And guys, what are we doing? Are we selling houses or are we selling what? Do you understand the difference? It is a fundamental difference. If you stick to the basics, how I learned this 22 years ago, very, very few times will you get in trouble doing this business. Okay? We don't lie. We don't cheat to people. Sometimes you just got to tell people the hard truth. Do I tell people if I'm making a profit when I buy their house? I do. They're like, Rick, what are you going to do with the house? How do you answer that? Anybody want to be brave enough to answer that question?
That's what it qualifies for. I hold it, I split it.
No idea. Can you tell me a little bit about the house? Let's see what we're getting into here. Remember, I need to go from the house to you to find out what your story is. And if you can get them to release and tell you how they got in this situation, because there's a story behind every dirty, nasty house. My husband's an ass. He put me in this horrible situation. He left me with the kids. What do you want me to do? Okay, I get it. Don't get upset when they start getting hot with you. That's what you need. If you're having a civil conversation, you're not wholesaling. I need people, I don't want them to cry, but I'm trying to solve their problem. And I need to know how deep it is in their heart they want to solve it. If you just want to solve it transactionally, I can't help you. And I'm going to cut you loose pretty quick. But if you want to go in a store and you need help, we'll figure it out. I do a lot of the Port St. Louis here. We buy from a lot of elderly people that they're taking care of their mom. She's got dementia. I recently dealt with a lady. She stood by the AC controller. She goes, this is why I called you. The house was perfect. She goes, my mom won't let anybody in the house. You need to go talk to her for 15 minutes and acknowledge the thermostat. And you're not going to change it. And you're not going to touch it. There's like 4 extra locks. Her hands worn on it. And I quickly find out this has nothing to do with the house. He goes, we just want to honor our mother. She bought us this house and she's very scared anybody comes in this house. So they spent 20 minutes with me outside. I go, I understand. Tell me what the problem. So it took 10, 20 minutes to unwind the problem. Don't embarrass me in front of my mother. You need to honor her. I'll give you a good deal, but you got to commit. Because if you insult the house, especially the thermostat, she's going to go batshit crazy. I'm like, this is a common theme for me. And I'm just telling you, that's how I get great deals. Now they walk in, they go, how much are you going to give me for this house? And I go, I never answer that question. Well, tell me what's going on. Tell me a little bit about your story. Get away from the house. Get to their problems. And then it'll match up. You could also find out if they're telling you the truth real quickly. Because people can't make up these stories. Okay. Wholesaling is legal in all 50 states. I don't care what anybody tells you. It doesn't mean you should not review the laws in your state and be up to date on it. There are some crazy, crazy policies. I'm not going to get into like the details on it. If you have a question, there's only one even questionable state, in my opinion. There's always an argument with federal and state. So if we go into a particular business that has a funky smell, that's got a dispensary everywhere, it's federally illegal, but every state's making it legal because the state wants the revenue. It makes no sense to me. Our argument is reverse. It's federally legal. Now states are trying to make it difficult. So if you understand your rights, you understand the Constitution, don't disrespect it. And here's the worst case scenario. If they banned it all, I'll tell you how to do this anyways. We're always 3 steps ahead of people. The problem is there's a lot of unethical people out there that are screwing it up for everybody else. But those type of people, they're going to be a bad teacher, a bad cop, a bad insurance person, a bad mother. No matter where they go, they're just going to be bad. We can't sit there and legislate every little piece. Otherwise, the government's going to tell you everything.
Well, we've done, in the past year, I think we've done a deal in 45 states. So every single person that told me it's illegal, like, for example, there's certain people that have told me that it's illegal to wholesale in Virginia. Ace, are you in prison or are you still wholesaling? No. So people online have said that Ace will go to prison for wholesaling in Virginia.
Yeah.
I was told I was going to prison for wholesaling South Carolina.
We did it.
That month, I wholesaled 5 properties.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a jerk. And I just proved everyone wrong. And so you've been hearing everywhere that wholesaling is illegal. There's only one state where it's questionable, Illinois. After that, we keep doing deals there. So
So eventually somebody has to win a case law. When we have that, I believe it'll be over. I don't want anyone here to get challenged, okay? I'm not here like lawyers are a nightmare, especially like a state prosecutor. They're not fun because I've been through it before. And I'm just like, hey, what do you do? So a lot of people, you got to understand outside of this room, most people do not understand what we do. So if they don't understand it, what's their instant assumption? To legal. And this is how we get in this thing. There are some really bad actors in this business. But the problem is with people teaching to do wholesaling on like MLS, we're just creating huge problems. You guys realize we have the opposite agenda of most realtors. And so we do a Hatfield McCoy thing, and this is why it's just such a mess. I don't mess around on the MLS. There's a year and a half during 2010-11, like you could buy anything. It didn't matter where it was. That was the only time I found that you could find motivated sellers on the MLS. Now, I have to go through 1,200 leads just to even have one qualified one on the MLS. That is exhausting, and you're typically burnt out. So if you understand it, this does not relieve you from looking up your own state statutes and laws and getting involved. Texas is trying to push some like very aggressive stuff, and investors have stood up to them. They go to hearings and they tell them why it's screwed up. So most of the time you have politicians that don't understand what they do. They just hear the bad side. A lot of people talk about representation for our business. It's just not that easy. We don't need a course to tell us how to do this. You just need to have some common sense and some ethics. I can't make you be a good person. It's a choice. So let's just put it to bed. The illegal thing, honestly, if you're selling your contract, you're doing it correctly. The one thing I strongly advise is do not take pictures of the house and throw it out all over the internet. You will invite trouble. That's where you're going to get in trouble, because now you're basically acting as a realtor. That is the significant difference. We sell contracts. We don't sell pretty pictured properties. We do what most realtors do not want to even bother doing. Our service will always be needed. Always. There's just no exception. Okay. Wholesaling versus other real estate. Wholesaling isn't investing. Does everybody understand that? It is a strategy to find the deepest discounted deals. Everybody tries to mix up real estate investing. We are here for what? Wholesaling. Okay. You're selling the contract, not owning the house. This is an income producing strategy. Now, I'll be the first to admit it is a highly paid job, but it is a job that will pay you perpetually, and then it will also give you residual value in whatever you own. So anyone who tells you, have you ever heard someone goes, I sold my wholesaling business for X amount of millions of dollars. Anybody heard this claim? Doesn't exist. Prove it. Show it to me. 22 years, no one's ever showed me they've sold a wholesaling business to make a fortune. The value in a wholesaler is the assets you produce. End of story. You buy my wholesaling business, me and Zach leave, you don't have anything. You get a little bit of traction, maybe some old leads, but we are the engines. You are the asset. The minute you leave that company, it's of zero value. So anyone ever told you they sold a business $5, $7, $10 million, they're not sellable. I've been part of companies where they try to sell them. They never close. They always wind up being a back-end deal. I'll give you $2 million on the back if everything works out. And why would you sell a business that makes a crap load of money? It usually means you're losing. I sold the business and I'm going to go on to coaching, right? That's what you hear. Bullshit. Run your wholesaling business and show people exactly what you do. Show them, stop telling them what to do. So you've got to understand, if your dream is to sell a wholesaling business, I'm 22 years, it doesn't exist. Now, if I buy 15 houses, I get them paid off and it produces a lot of money, there's your $2 or $3 million right there. I've seen it more and more on the internet. Hey, I sold my business for X amount of dollars. Show me the statement. There is a statement when you sell a business. I've sold businesses just like a HUD. When they don't show you the statement, it means it's probably fudged the whole way. End of story. So I want you to understand, it's the assets you buy that does it. Do you need any money experience? Absolutely not. I didn't have any. I made him do it without it. And a lot of you are doing that. Now, if you have money, you have a few more options, but you're going to have to bury your ego, because what happens in wholesaling when you tell people you have money? Hey, I want to learn this business. I got $10,000. You are going to get hammered. And who are you going to get hammered by? Coaches that they just want your money. They don't want to solve your problem. I need a sale. I need to sell as fast as I can. So be careful. If you do have money, keep your mouth shut. It's going to work against you. And by the way, if you go on an appointment, please do not pull up in your high-end Mercedes, your cyber trucks. It works against you. It doesn't work. I made the big mistake once. I bought a old UPS truck. I wrapped it. The most obnoxious We Buy Houses. My daughter wanted to die when I picked her up in school. And then honestly, I found out my customers were pissed. They're like, dude, like you're embarrassing me in my neighborhood. I'm like, I got towed so many times, the fees, and the thing broke down. And my daughter goes, I'm not going to recognize you in that thing anymore. And the doors were open on the side. I just thought it was the coolest thing. It was a terrible idea. So if you have a beat up truck, keep it, because people look, they will size you up before you walk in that door. And if you're too high class, you're not going to connect with them. I'm just telling you, it's something I've observed over the years. So when I send my acquisitions people, I go, you're not taking that car, take the beat up truck over here. It speaks volumes to people. You need to connect with people. A lot of people think they need to drive a fancy car to prove it. You're not. If you want to be a realtor, go be a realtor. On wholesalers, nobody gives a crap what you drive. solve people's problems and connect with them. Okay. So there's just 3 parts: marketing, and what else? So all you got to do is break it down to the 3 parts, period. Do not complicate this. Of the 3 parts, which is the one you have to master first? You have to master it. If you skip this and you go, hey, Rick, I'm struggling to get deals, but I have this great disposition software and all this. I'm like, dude, focus on the marketing. You guys have been taught your entire life, you have to figure everything all the way out, take these courses, then you step into the big leagues. I'm here to tell you, if they did school differently, like you learned something and you went out in the world and applied it, we'd have a different outcome in life. This is brutal. Like when you get out of school, you find out like you're the lowest man on the totem pole. Like I've been studying for 16, 19 years. Like, holy crap, I could have been doing this from the get-go. That's what you got to understand. So marketing, acquisitions, dispositions. Any questions on this? Break your business down to 3 simple phases. Spend all your energy in the first 3 to 6 months in marketing. Acquisitions, I have systems that'll protect you. If you follow the system, it works. Dispositions, I fully admitted to you guys, I didn't do dispositions the first year and a half. I did not have the brain capacity for it because this is my problem, not yours. Now, most normal people will go, okay, I'll master marketing. You have to master it. So marketing is how we find the sellers, deep discounts that are motivated. You have a motivated house or you have a motivated seller. In the perfect world, it's both. When you have both, it's usually very simple. You just walk them down the aisle. Most of the time, the house is a piece of junk and the seller is completely unrealistic. You just keep those people in follow-ups. I buy at least 50% of those houses. They just take more time. And that's where everybody gets frustrated. You heard Jen, she worked on the deal 7 months. You've got to be willing to do it. We're going to provide you some more tools while you're here at this event so you can easily automate some of your follow-ups. Because you're like me, if I get too many tasks, I just start to freeze like a deer in the headlight. I'm not great with technology. I'm okay with it. My son's amazing at it. My wife even helps me out with technology. I'm old. Okay. Divorce, tall grass. A lot of the stuff we do is really common sense. You don't have to overthink. You guys realize there's an actual course out there for driving for dollars? It's $3,000. I've looked it up. And he's going to teach you how to find an ugly house. I can do it in a minute. I'll save you 3. To me, everything's for sale. And I think it's listen, if you want to buy it, that's great. I have the whole thing on freewholesaling.com. It's really not hard to do. So call, text, email, however we connect to them. This is considered your median. And we're going to talk about that as we go through it. So we do marketing. We have our list. We call them prospects. Some of you call them suspects. And then you have your marketing medium. That's how you deliver your message, which is always up for debate. There's a million options. And we're going to talk about and figure the best one for you. Everybody tends to gravitate toward one or two of them. If you're short on cash, you're going to be limited on these options and you're going to have to put in the time, the hustle muscle. No matter what, you're going to have to do the hustle muscle in the beginning. Okay. Acquisitions. This is where we go out and we meet the sellers and we underwrite the house. I'm going to simplify this process. Who's in comp hell? Who overcomps? Just admit it. I was one of them. I used to sit there and comp. Why do you think you overcomp so much? Stand up. Tell them why. Because I already know the answer.
I'm afraid for the no.
Okay. So what are you going for?
I go for the yes.
Okay. We have to do it backwards. Okay? So if I have a asset that's worth $300,000, say that's the ARV, you guys get in it. Oh my God, I got to comp this house. I got to go to PropStream. I got to go to X Leads. I got to go to Batch. I got to go to Deal Machine. I got to go to Zillow. You have to, what I had to comp, I had to go to a realtor. I didn't have a choice. She goes, hey, here's the range. I'm like, crap. I already spit out this price. I go, I'm sorry, it's not a deal. And now I find we have so many tools, we're spoiled silly. And then you guys, you have a range. So some of them are 320 and some are 290. What do you pick? Always take the lower. You can't make numbers up. When you start making up your own data, you will get killed in this business. So if I have a range from 290 to 320, my comp's 290. I'm just going to err to the caution side. If I make an extra 30 again, God bless me, right? You have to understand that. Here's the problem. So let's just say it's worth 300. But you're going to spend, what, an extra 2 hours trying to figure out it's worth 320? The reason why you're doing it is because you're trying to get into the seller's mind. You have no idea what they're going to say. We're going to go over this in more detail, how to do it. You have to stop doing it the old way. It doesn't work. I spent 4 years of painful process to find out comping is a waste of your time in wholesaling. It doesn't mean you disregard it. You have enough tools, especially with X leads, in 2 minutes in and out. I do not comp until I'm getting down to write a contract. Here's the reality. Say it's worth 300. I go to the house. Guy's like, listen, Rick, you got to buy the house right now. Okay, the comp's 300. I'm just going to go in a number. I'm probably going to offer him 200, and I'm going to shut my mouth and watch how he reacts. Do I care if it's worth 290 or 320? No, it's a waste of my time. I have to buy for a deep discount. The people that overanalyze properties on values, they act like they're a realtor. And the reason you do it is because you want certainty in your life, because you're scared and you're uncomfortable. It's okay. I'm gonna make you so nervous to how you make an offer. You guys know I'm gonna teach you how to do this. You should have pits in your stomach before you spit it out. If you do it, it means you're doing wholesaling right. If you feel good about your offer and everything like that, I promise you, you're going to overpay for the property every time. So there's rules in acquisitions, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's easy. You're not a salesperson, you're a qualifier. Who thinks they have to be a massive salesman to be successful in wholesaling? You don't. Me and him have hired some of the best salespeople in the world. They're the biggest nightmare in our business. It's fake, it's not genuine, contracts fall apart, people start lying to each other. I don't like it. You've got to connect with people. The sooner you get to the truth, the better you can do. Do not be a salesperson, it doesn't work. The world's full of fake people. Social media's made it 10 times worse. People are actually refreshed when you're honest. Don't mix up being authentic without being a very stealthy, sophisticated business person. You have to have the tool sets, but you have to connect with them. So you have to wear two hats at the same time. I don't have any magic words to teach you to close somebody. It doesn't work in this business. Selling a car, it's a different team. Hey, Sebastian, you're going to look amazing in this car. Think about all the girls are going to look at you when you drive this car. Think of the status. It doesn't work in wholesaling. It just, either you're a good fit or you're not. And you got to understand that. We got you covered what to say because most people absolutely freak out when it comes to the negotiations. True story, I used to stall before I did the negotiations. You know how you stall? You just keep talking. You never get to the point. After a while, you go backwards in credibility. You're like, Rick, didn't you come here to buy my house? Are you ever going to get to the point? I'm like, crap, I better land the plane quickly. So I learned techniques like transition statements. So when you start over talking, fix it, identify it. You know how you find out you're an over talker? Somebody tells you, you talk too much. You're like, damn, do I really? People used to tell me, oh, Rick, man, you talk, man. You got a gift of gab, but sometimes you don't know when to shut up. And I took that to heart when I did wholesaling. And I had tricks. So when I started talking and I started getting uncomfortable, I'm like, okay, you're scared to negotiate. You're scared of the outcome. Switch gears, go for it. Because you're never going to improve your life if you don't get to the point. And that's all I did. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Who's scared to negotiate in here? Be honest. Because we're going to do some live negotiations. So you guys are, there we go. You got the roll call on that? The sooner you overcome the fear, the better off it will be. It'll never go away completely. To this day, some people still, I'm like, I have no idea what the outcome's going to be. The people I think that are slam dunks in wholesaling, they surprise the crap out of me and fight me the hardest. And the people I write off, I go, there's no way this person's going to sell me the house cheap. I go through the process, I'm like, holy crap, they just left me 50 grand. So stop trying to underwrite your deals before you talk to them. I'm going to teach you how to transition. I'm going to teach you to go for no, because all you guys have been taught is to go for yes. It's such a simple method, but it works. I hear it all the time from you guys. God, Rick, you know what I used to do? I handicap myself. I don't play golf. The handicap would be terrible. So whatever offer I'd make, I'd minus off 25, 30 grand. I'd protect myself from my own, like I want to help people. I'm an empath. So I started handicapping myself and I figured out, I go, how can I find out what is the bottom line number? That's how I came up with the method. So we're going to teach you all that, and then we're going to get into dispositions. This is basically selling your contract for a profit. I'm going to be honest, this is the easiest part. This is the one that you shouldn't overthink. I couldn't handle it because my brain was taxed, but I figured it out. I let other people teach it to me, and you're going to wear a different hat when you do this, and we'll teach you how to do it. Just like Jen said, people will shock you what they'll offer you on a property. And you got, because everyone does, hey, what are you asking for it? The easiest one is go, tell me what you need to take down this property. I got some other people to talk to. It's one of the easiest techniques. It's not complicated, but you put the ball in their court. A lot of people will lowball you, do that. We're not going to talk about that. Let me know when you're serious. Give me a call back. We're going to teach you every technique that you can do with it. As I said, it's the easiest one of the three. And so let's talk about what makes someone successful or not in wholesaling. Here's the three main killers. Lack of knowledge. Most people don't do wholesaling. They try to be a sophisticated real estate investor. It is such a broad scope. But here's the good news is, if you master wholesaling first, you can learn anything you want. Listen, if you don't want to wholesale in the long run, it's great, but remember, wholesaling is where the source of all great deals come from. So why would you ever want to get out of it? If you become successful, you teach other people to go on the appointments for you. You get other people to help you answer the phone, and you have a successful business. But you're going to have to walk at least 20 miles in those shoes. Some of you want to outsource everything when you come in. I just smile. I go, let me know how it works out. I don't teach that method. And they always come back to me and go, man, Rick, I'm 50 grand lighter. You were right. I go, I did it. I told you, you got to listen. Put your ego aside. Listen. I can save you guys a ton of money if you just listen to me. I've made every mistake known to mankind. Ask me. I'll show you. You guys have a lack of networking. You feel like you're doing this all alone. Like, hey, I'm all by myself. This is absolutely crazy. And then when you do earn money, you're like, how do I pay the taxes on it? How do I get a write-off? Did you realize if you do wholesaling and you separate you, either through an LLC or an S or a C corporation, I'm not going to get into accounting with you, you get a 30 to 35% pay raise right off the bat. So if I earned 100 grand as a W-2 employee, you're going to give a third of that roughly up to taxes. If you own your own business, you can basically include almost every write-off. What kind of write-offs? You can do an annual corporate trip. You can take your employees, you can take your wife, you have to record the minutes, you have to do everything. But remember, I don't know about you, when I was a W-2, when I got that and they dwindled my check down, I'm like, crap. I got to buy gas. I got to take my family on a vacation. I got to do all this stuff. Just by doing that will make a tremendous difference. But you got to learn to know who to talk to and who's telling you the truth and who's not. Who has a real business and who's faking it. You got to know enough people. There's enough people in this room, I'm telling you, you would be blown away. Just try to talk to as many people as you humanly possibly can. And number three, this is killing every one of you. You've got to have tremendous volume. You are pushing a boulder uphill. And it's going to take everything you got to push. But a lot of you think you're pushing it downhill. You're just going to give it a little push and it's just going to roll and the deals are going to flow in. It's painful in the beginning. I know it. I've lived it. And some of you just aren't telling you the truth. Some of you go, I'm going to make 200 cold calls today. And then you're calling me and Zach at cold call number 23. I'm like, this is tough. People are mean, Rick. You know what she said to me? No, I really don't care. Wait, where's call number 24? Are you going to keep going? Like, do you have the guts to do it? And what happens is you start going back into your own personality and you're stuck. And you want to complain and bitch about it. Like, kick yourself in the butt and get it going. Because me and Zach are just going to tell you, 23 is not going to get it done. You do 23 in an hour, maybe we can talk. Whatever you think you're doing, you should 10x it, in my opinion. Because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to find bad deals, but here's the really cool. You know what volume does? It gives you experience, and every one of you need it. If you gave me 100 grand, I would give you the exact same advice. I would tell you just to go rip through that cold call, go door knocking, go do it. They go, yeah, but I paid you 100 grand. I'm like, I don't give a crap. I'm not doing it for you. I'm just going to tell you where to go. Do you guys understand? I've watched people charge 100 grand that don't even do wholesaling, and they're going to tell you you're going to have to go out and cut your teeth on the journey. And that's where most people are shocked. You guys think if you pay a higher sticker price, you're just going to get your ass kissed more. That's it. I ain't doing it. I'm just going to tell you the truth. This is a hard business, and if you're hard and you want to do it, you're about 2 years. If you can get through it, then you'll see the fruition. Deals start coming to you. I still market for deals because every 5 grand I spend investing, I get an 8 times return. I didn't always think like that. You know what I said? God damn, I got to write another check. I'm scared to death. What if this doesn't work out? What if we switched around and said, what if this does work out? Because we always know where we can go. I can always go back to my old job. It's always sitting there waiting for me. There's somebody always waiting to do it. You have to start thinking on the other side. What if this does work out? You are the only person that can make it work. Not me, not Zach, not anybody else in this room. but you got to go to work and get it done. Volume fixes everything, for the most part, at least in wholesaling, because if you have enough deals, you get experience, and after a while, you'll identify patterns. But if you only do it like, if you guys are gonna, like, we always talk about AI is just gonna help you move faster. It's never gonna do wholesaling for you. Some people like, Rick, I wanna do AI because I just wanna get 25 leads and I wanna know at least half of them are gonna sell to me. I'm like, don't do AI then, you're gonna get killed. AI is not a cheat sheet, it just moves you faster, okay?